Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm actually going to be doing an Etsy shop critique. This is one of the many free critiques I do every single month for free to give back to my community. So if you would like a chance to win a critique, I will leave the link right below the video where you could sign up. Now, if this is your first time visiting my YouTube channel, consider subscribing. I do upload weekly videos to help you build an impactful online business. And also don't forget to hit that notification bell. This is for everyone, so you'll be the first person notified of any new videos that I upload. In addition to that, if you're new to Etsy, you're a beginner, I have a lot of resources that you can find right below this video that will help you get started the right way. So make sure that you check them out. And let's head over to my computer to see who is today's lucky Etsy critique winner. So today's lucky winner for the Etsy critique is the store called Purposely Creative by Ebony. So congratulations, Ebony. Now, even if you didn't win this critique, keep in mind that everything I'm going to be talking about on this video is applicable for any type of niche. So make sure that you stick around and watch this video all the way to the end. Also, don't forget to give Ebony some feedback on anything that maybe I didn't cover, because I am trying to create a sense of community where we all come together and we help each other out. So don't forget to leave a comment right below the video. So let's go ahead and get started. So if you are new to my critiques, what I normally do is I take a particular listing and I do a full critique of that listing. So I talk about the product photography, I talk about titles, the listing description, on-page SEO factors, off-page SEO factors, the curation of the store, and much more. And I do break it down into sections, so make sure that you grab a pen and paper so you guys could take some notes. So the listing that I'm doing a critique on is this beautiful notebook right here. So the first thing I want to talk about is product photography. As you probably already know this, you probably read it, heard it so many times. Product photography is so important when you sell online. The reason why is because that's the only thing the customer goes by, right? They can't grab the actual notebook, they can't feel the texture of it, they can't open it, they can't play with it. So therefore, your photo has to be Drew worthy. It has to be something that when they're browsing through the search feed, it entices them to stop browsing and take notice of your product. So you have to make sure that your product photography is not blurry, it's clear. When people look at it at first glance, they know what they're buying. And you want to make sure that not only does your product photography look great, but what is so unique about your product? Keep in mind, people are overwhelmed with options. There are so many buyers or so many sellers, that sell on Etsy very similar products like other stores. So what makes your product, Ebony, different from everyone else that sells on Etsy? Why would someone buy your product? Why would someone look at your product and say to themselves, oh, okay, it's no brainer, let me buy from the store because I can't get this nowhere else? If you're getting, for example, this is for everyone listening, a lot of views, a lot of favorites, but you're not getting a lot of sales, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have a bad product. But it could be that your product is so similar to other people that they're just favoring it for now to see if they could find the product cheaper, or maybe they've seen another product that's very similar and they're going to compare. You have to make sure that you are adding your strengths to your product and that you're creating a product that outperforms your competitors. So it's not necessarily reinventing the wheel or creating something from scratch. Sometimes it's just taking something that is trending or something that's selling, but making it very different from everyone else so you could outperform your competitor. If you're selling the same product like everyone else, it is going to be a lot harder for you to make consistent sales or for people to actually buy from you versus going to your store, maybe clicking, viewing, and leaving. So keep that in mind. I do like your product. I like the photos. I think you did a really good job with it. I like the the white background just clear and simple. That's kind of like the layout of photos that I actually prefer. So I think you did a really good job, and you have different variations of the product. You have it closed, open, just laying down, and then open like this. So I do like that. Now, what I would recommend as an Etsy seller is to make sure that you use all 10 spots. Keep in mind, if this is your store, like the store that you have hopes to maybe quit your full-time job and make this your full-time job, you have to treat this as a real business, in the essence of, okay, let me make sure I have all 10 photos in there. Let me make sure that I have the video in there, right? The Etsy video. Let me make sure that I'm doing everything possible to convert this page and optimize it so I could have higher conversion rate. So you want to make sure that you have 10 photos here, and you could do different variations of things. You could have a photo where you ask people to favorite your listing. This is a great marketing strategy because not every single person that comes to your store from Etsy SEO, from Google, from maybe you're driving traffic from your social media, not every single individual is going to buy. I wish that was the case, right? I wish that every single person that came to my Etsy store, if I drove, let's say every day I had 200 visits, I wish all 200 visits purchased. It doesn't work that way. Only a small percentage are going to buy. So how do you capture these people that don't buy, that might not ever come back to your store or find your products? So two things that I recommend. One, having a picture where you ask people, hey, don't forget to like this listing, or don't forget to favor our store. The reason why is because now when they favor your store, every single time that you have a new update, a new listing, a sale going on, all of these individuals are going to get a notification on their dashboard on Etsy that you currently have a sale. In addition to that, I recommend email marketing. I don't see in your actual listing that you're collecting emails. So just get started with it. I know it can be a little bit overwhelming in the beginning, but my God, the value of email marketing is incredible. And a lot of times we don't do stuff because we're intimidated by it, or we really just don't understand the value of it. But keep in mind, with email marketing, you could capture those leads from people that didn't buy at first time when they shop at your store. You could nurture people through email marketing so they could come back and buy from you. You could do remarketing campaigns through Facebook. You could also create lookalike audiences through Facebook and find new customers that are very similar to the people that purchase from you, and so much more. You could have the months that are a little bit slower for you and you need extra cash. You could just send an email blast and make sales on a continuous basis every single month, and not solely depend on just Etsy SEO or just on Google. So keep that in mind. Email marketing is huge. You could do email marketing through Etsy's integration partners, or you could just choose any email provider that you want. I actually have an email provider that I recommend as well. You guys could find the link right below this video. If you click, you'll have a list of all these different resources that I have there for Etsy sellers. So make sure that you check them out. And I do have one for email marketing as well. But having a photo here, asking people to favor your listing or your shop, having a photo telling people, hey, sign up, make sure you offer some type of incentive for them to go ahead and join your email list. But having that picture asking people, join my email list to receive this incentive, is a great way to build your email list. If you package this beautiful notebook in a certain way, maybe it comes in beautiful packaging, take a photo of that. People like to see that. Maybe you could add a photo of you writing on the notebook, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be a photo of your face if you don't want to. It could just be of your hand and you writing in the journal, just to have more photos. But fill this up, because the more people engage with your photos, the longer that they stay here browsing, the higher the probability that they'll click on your listing description, kind of go through it, read more, engage more with your brand, and hopefully buy from you. So keep that in mind. It's really, really important that you add all the photos. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is your title. So what you want to do is you want to include your focus tag or your main keyword that you want to rank for in the beginning of your title. It holds the most weight for SE0. Now, keep in mind, you want to make sure that your title is optimized for SEO, but it's also user friendly for the customer. This is what XE recommends. They want us to make sure that our titles are easy to read and it's still, optimized for SEO because you want to rank, but you also want to make sure that it's easy for them to read. And I think you did a decent job with it. One thing that I would suggest is never put the size of the product as in the beginning of your title. Since if I was looking for a notebook, I wouldn't necessarily type 8.5 by 11 inches. I might put, notebook and then put the size after that, maybe. But I don't think this is something that many people search for this way. You could put the size in the actual listing description and put all the details that they need to know. But in the title, what I would do is just have your main focus keyword in the beginning of the title. And one idea that you could do, or one strategy that I recommend for everyone to do, is whenever you're doing keyword research, you sit down, you look at your product, and you write unique phrases that accurately describes what you sell. This way, when you are doing keyword research, you can find tags that accurately describe what you sell, right? And when people search for those keywords, they come, your product shows up. And because that's what they're looking for, they're searching with an intent to buy, you have a higher chance of getting sales. Now, you don't want to use terms that are too broad or too competitive, because if you don't rank for those listings or for those terms, your listing will be buried in the search results, and therefore it will be a lot harder for you to be found organically. And if you were to do XE ads, the cost per click or the bidding is a lot higher now. You're competing with so many people to show up on the first or second page of XE, which is where everybody wants to be. So what I would do is make sure that your main keyword is in the beginning of your title. So I'm assuming that your main keyword is this right here. So if this is your main keyword right here, you have to make sure that your meta description, which is the first 155 characters of your listing, includes this particular keyword here. Now, looking at your listing, you don't have it here. And then looking at your general listing description, it seems like you didn't optimize your listing description, and that's okay. That's the reason why you apply for this critique, and I'm going to be as thorough as possible to help you and guide you and give you best practices that XE requires for all of us to do. And hopefully after this critique, you could change it and it will benefit you for the best. So what you want to make sure that you do is, guys, when you're optimizing your listings, you want to include your tags not only on the title and on the tag section, but you also want to include it in your actual product description. This is something that XE recommends. The more keywords you put in there organically within the paragraphs or within the description of the product, is going to help you rank higher in the search feed. Because when people search for these queries, the XE's algorithm will understand that you actually have these tags and will rank your listings higher. So this could explain the reason why you're not getting a lot of sales, or it could be one contributing factor, right? Because XE SEO is just one part. You have to have an amazing product. You have to have something unique. You have to have a well-written listing description. You have to also do marketing, right, outside of XE as well. You cannot just solely depend on XE SEO. That's a great starting point, because if you don't have no visibility, that's the benefit of selling on XE SEO. If you don't have followers, if you don't have an email list, if you don't have visibility at the current moment, XE is a great place because they have their own building traffic. But over time, as an XE seller, you need to learn how to expand your digital footprint, because as the platform gets more popular and more people start selling on the platform, it does get harder for all of us to get more reach. So therefore, as a seller, it's your job to expand your digital footprint and have some control of you getting continuous sales versus just solely depending on whether the algorithm shows your products or not. So keep that in mind, but you definitely want to make sure that your listing description is optimized for XE SEO. So let's look at your tags. and I'll kind of go over them with you as well. So I'm using, guys, eRank Pro. This is a tool that you could sign up for free. I actually have the paid one. That's why it's the eRank Pro one. So if it doesn't look different, if it does look different to you, that's the reason why I have the paid one. And this is just doing an audit on her keywords here. And one thing that, you want to make sure that when you're doing keyword research, you want to make sure that the monthly search volume, the sweet spot that I have found is 500 or more, and the competition at least 30,000 or less. That way you could have a winning chance of getting found organically if you don't end up with a high listing quality score. Now, keep in mind that different niches might be different, right? Some might have lower numbers than 500, some might have higher numbers. But that's just a rule of thumb that I use that works well for my stores, that I recommend on my students and other people, and it has worked for them as well. So 500 at least, but obviously you could always make an informed decision and say, okay, this one doesn't have 500, but it has 200 monthly search volume. It's been really difficult finding keywords, so I'm going to use this one, and that's okay because 200 is better than nothing. You see how these are less than 20. This one has 238, but look at the competition. So you're not getting any traffic from here. So 200 is better than none, right? So what I would do, the first thing I would do for this particular listing is all of these listings that have 50,000 or more, all the red ones, I will get rid of because right now they're not doing anything for you at the current moment. So if you typed in office stationery on Etsy, there's a lot of people using this keyword. This is the quickest way that you could check how many people are actually using it. So you do a quick search for the term and 45,000 people. So that's not too bad, but still a lot of people are using it. Now, if we do, let's say this one, cute stationery, that one might have a little bit more. You do a quick search. That one has a lot more, 247,000 people. So as you can see, this is the quickest way to kind of check if you want to know the total amount of people competing for that term. And as you can see, if we browse here, your listing is not ranking for page 1 at the current moment, right? And it's not ranking for page 2 either. And who knows, it might be on page 7 or 10. You will have to kind of go through these, but it might also be on page like 50. You don't want to be in that page. So keywords like that, it's not necessarily that you shouldn't use broad terms, but if you upload a new listing and you really are not promoting your product outside of Etsy, you're just solely depending on Etsy SEO, and a lot of people don't click on it. A lot of people are not buying when you first upload it. It does hurt your chances of ranking on the first, second, or third page, because what happens is every time you upload a new listing, you get something called the listing quality score. And this is just how Etsy's algorithm works. And when you upload that new listing, based on how people interact with that listing, that actually sends a signal to the algorithm. And if you got a lot of favorites, a lot of clicks, and a lot of purchases, you could potentially become a bestseller, or you could rank higher in the search feed. But if no one really interacted with the listing, no one's buying from the listing, then you get a lower listing quality score. And a lot of the time, when you do have a lower listing quality score, what that means is that your listing now is ranking, it's not ranking, it's actually buried in the search results. So therefore, you're not going to get the traffic that you deserve for your products. So keywords like this don't help majority of the times unless you're promoting the heck out of it and you got a lot of purchases, and that kind of send some type of signal to the algorithm, and then they rank you higher. So I would get rid of these. And what I would do is just think about your product. What exactly do you sell? And try to stick with that. I think this is not a good keyword for your product. I understand it's a notebook, but if I was looking for your notebook, I wouldn't put office accessories necessarily. When I think about office accessories, I think about like stapler. That's just my opinion. I don't know how you guys feel, if this is a good term or not. Make sure you leave your comments below. But maybe motivational journal, I could see that, right? Cute stationery, I could kind of see that as well, why you wrote that. So make sure that you're actually describing what you sell, because if you pick a keyword just because it has a good keyword search volume and a good competition, but it doesn't really accurately describe what you sell, and you choose the wrong tags, that also hurts you. It will hurt your conversion rate. The more people see it, the less people buy. It ends up hurting you in the long run, and you don't want that. You want to make sure that you're picking keywords that are going to help you get sales and drive the right people to your products and services. So one tool that I use is called Keyword Explorer. So you brainstorm your ideas and then you go to Keyword Explorer, you put them in there and you do more research on them. This is the quickest way to do so. There's a lot of tools nowadays that you could use. It doesn't necessarily need to be eRank. This is just happens to be the tool that I choose to use. But you could use any tool out there to do keyword research. Just keep the same steps that I just talked about, the same premises, but just make sure that you're not picking keywords that are too broad, too competitive, or very general, like it doesn't accurately describe what you sell. And then once you have those keywords, come back, optimize your listing, your title. So your title, your tags, and your product description the right way. So let's go ahead and continue on your actual store. But before that, I wanted to check really quick your category. So you did a good job with your category. So great job there. So perfect. So let's go back to your store. Next thing I want to talk about is just your overall look of your store. I do love your logo. You did a really good job with your logo. I love the name of your store, and I like how you were creative by putting a K instead of a C. So I do like that as well. I love your photo. You're very beautiful and photogenic. I love your banner. I love stuff like this because I like even though I'm not as girly, in the inside, I'm girly. So I do like things like this. So it looks really cute. I like the different types of fonts that you have going on for your banner. And one thing that you want to do as well is that you want to make sure that you optimize your store for SEO. So you want to put keywords here that you want to rank for in your name section. And even Xe recommends putting keywords in your announcement and also in your About Me section. And I think that your products are very cohesive with one another. So that's really good. I like that. A lot of times people have like products that are two very different to each other. I do think that you do have a lot of things, like you have notebooks, you have, pillows, you have blankets. I do think that in the beginning, when you're first starting out, it's better to niche down, and then over time, test out your market, test out your audience, ask them what they want to see from you, and then possibly create a robust line around that specific design, and then add more products. One thing that many Etsy sellers make the mistake is winging it and just adding a whole bunch of different products. And the more products I add, the more I will make money. But in my opinion, what I have learned in 11 years, I did this same mistake in the beginning. All I talked about was blogging, affiliate marketing, how to create a blog, how to do email marketing, how to grow a brand, how to grow Facebook groups to over 100,000. That's what I talked about in my blog, online. I was all over the place. The moment I niche down and I went from all of that to just Etsy content only, and it is still tempting, right? It is tempting for me to want to talk about other things besides Etsy. But the moment I niche down, that was what helped me create better products for my audience. That's what helped me make the most money I've ever made in 11 years in the last 4 years. So keep that in mind. I mean, this is just an advice that I give you. If you go to people that are way bigger than me, that have way bigger following, if you listen to their messages, each and every one of them say niche down. And it is okay in the beginning to try different products and have different niches if you want. But eventually, When you find those winning products, you will need to get rid of the other product and just work with that product and become an industry leader in something very specific. That's how you stand out in the market. That's how you become an industry leader in a specific product. And that's how you'll be able to create additional products that your target audience would love to buy from you over and over and over. So even though your products are very similar to one another, which I like, I do think that you have too many variations of things. That's just my opinion. And I could tell everyone to just niche down and do it this way and do it that way. But the biggest lesson that I could give anyone out there that I have learned myself is that there's nothing that substitutes experience. Until you do it and you do it this way, or you do it niche down and you have a different outcome, that's when you'll be like, oh, okay, I get what she's saying now. Or no, it didn't work for me, right? Until you go through it yourself. So sometimes we have to go through it and then later be like, okay, I have to do something different because this is not working out. So just keep that in mind. That's just my opinion. But to be quite honest, Ebony, you have beautiful products. You have something that is unique and different. I think is unique and different. Now, your notebooks and other stuff, do other people sell similar products? Yeah. So try to see how you could make it a little bit more unique in that sense. But I do think that you are off to a good start. You had Etsy now for since 2018. I don't know when I don't know if you did it and then stopped and then started working again, which is fine. Some people do that. But just make sure that you don't keep repeating the same things over and over. Like, try to do something different so you could stand out in the market. And that's thinking about, okay, how can I create a product that's very unique, very different? Who is my ideal customer? Why would they buy from me, right? These are questions you have to ask yourself. And if you're interested, I think my Etsy Mastery course will be perfect for you. I will leave the link right below this video. I do teach you how to do all of these things that I'm mentioning on this video. And I wanted to look at your Instagram as well. So here is your Instagram. And let me look at a couple of your posts here. So it looks like you do post. You post today twice, yesterday, 3 days ago. Okay, so you do post on a continuous basis, which is really great. Now, what you want to do is every single time you post something like this beautiful pillow, you want to make sure that you say, click the link to shop now, or click the link to head over to my store. You want to tell the customer how they could find your products. So click to learn more, or click to buy now. Always add a call to action. So in this situation, you will send the customer, click the link to buy from you. They click on the link and now they head over to your store. And I just want to just say this only because I just remember this. A while back, I was selling Coco Chanel perfumes, like this one here actually. And I was selling digital prints of it. I actually bought the licensing from Creative Market, and I got in trouble for it. Now, keep in mind, I don't do it anymore. I'm just giving you heads up. Make sure that when you're selling these brands like Coco Chanel or Louis Vuitton, I even had a couple of those, that you have the right to sell. If you do, ignore what I'm just saying. But if you don't, be very careful, because someone, let's say Coco Chanel sees this, they report your store, it could potentially be a problem later, or they could suspend your account. I just want to make sure that I tell you that out of my own experience. This is not based on what other people say. This is because it happened to me. And so now when I buy from Creative Market or wherever you get your designs, I never buy anything that I know is a brand. Because even though that person drew it themselves, it doesn't give me the right to sell it. And it doesn't give them the right to sell it to me either. But there are people that break the rules. So just wanted to make you aware of that, because that happened to me. Great job for posting regular on Instagram. Keep in mind that Instagram works a little bit different than when you promote your business on Pinterest. So Pinterest, you could promote your products all the time. Instagram, You have to treat it more of a community. You come to Instagram, you build relationships, you give value, maybe you inspire people through quotes, things like that. And then, warm up your audience, find your tribe, and then you sell to them. You don't want to treat your social media, especially Instagram, like a billboard where you sell all the time. So stuff like this is really good when you write things like this. Kind of break it up a little bit. That would definitely help when you have pictures of your beautiful self like this. That's great. Telling who you are, your brand story, why you got started, asking people questions about would you buy something like this, like interacting. It's more of a community. It doesn't mean that you won't get sales from Instagram. It does help. Instagram is one of my biggest platforms. It drives me a lot of sales. But you got to treat it a little bit different than when you would do on Pinterest. All of these different platforms, just learning how they all work. But Instagram is more of building a community. And then eventually they tend to click and then go to your service and products that you sell. But you're off to a really great start for January. Hopefully, all of these tips will help you continue to grow your store and you will have the best year ever. Guys, if you have any tips for Ebony, anything that maybe I didn't mention, please leave the comments below. If you have any questions about anything I mentioned, I know I talk a little bit fast, let me know. I'll be more than happy to help you, to give you resources, to give you a link to whatever to help you succeed for 2021. So leave the comments below. And thank you everyone for watching.